Oh yeah.
Yo. What's up? We're out here at MSU.
I'll be myself. So
Yeah, we're out here at MSU. We're going to the there's a Palestine rally being held by the PSL and 8 other organizations. So we're going to document some stuff from it.
I'm phone audio too.
Yeah, it's down this way. Yeah, it's at the student union, which is like what is it, food court or something like that. So that'll be
Let's let this guy pass it.
Yeah.
Probably got something important to do like us. We're gonna go troll the pro-Palestine people.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. We heard they're doing a sit-in today.
Nothing extreme.
Yeah, just go tease them and ask them questions.
We most importantly want to document stuff too.
Okay, is that what you're doing right now?
Yeah, we're live streaming.
That's what I'm talking about. On Twitch or something?
YouTube, Facebook, Twitch.
Nice. How many dudes you got on there?
Do we have anybody on there, Leighton?
Viewers right now.
Okay.
That's a shame, but I hope success for you guys.
Thanks, man.
Thank you.
I appreciate it, bro. Let's see what happens. We have the support of the people.
So weird. Should have went to college.
No, dude.
Yeah, I mean it's a scam, but it'd be so fun, right?
I guess.
Yeah. I'm hoping they don't tow me.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm sure they'll just give me a fine or something like that, and I'll just pay it. But
All of our audio's coming out of you right now.
all my audio's coming out already.
Yeah, I got mine muted.
Yeah. Probably good to just have one. We could use this as like a little lavalier thing. Here's a lavalier. A little lavalier like. Yeah. We don't have anyone tuned in right now, but we're about to walk in. Yeah, this will be pretty interesting.
Yes.
We planned all this at like last minute. Oh, I see some red hair.
Oh,
might be
must
it.
be close.
Yeah, we planned this all kind of last minute last night. I was gonna mention it to Jacob, but I forgot. So we're just kind of doing it now.
Winging it.
Yeah, winging it. See who all's out here. Yeah, some people, some signs. I don't know if that's them or
I don't know. Let's see.
oh, they're getting a camera. I don't think that's what's their church say.
I don't know. What is this? Some kind of hostages.
Oh, it is. Does it?
Oh, yeah. Oh, wow. Hey, who are you guys with? Color 10, wow.
Are you guys on the side of Israel or on the side of?
Oh, nice. Interesting.
It's interesting to see counter protest events like this. We haven't seen any other.
Are they in there?
Side sit in, but I understand based on the sidewalk chalk is in that area.
Oh, okay.
We were here at 10 this morning. Nobody was here.
I'm not surprised. It's kind of early for communists, you know.
Are you guys communists?
No, we're here to tease and mute yours. That's a bit much. Yeah, we're live streaming, so we're gonna go like talk to them and interview them and stuff.
Good.
Yeah.
Oh, listen, this guy here has got a lot of information.
Turn that down.
He's got a lot of information. We lived in Israel. We have been part of Israeli society for over 40 years, and we're here to support them
Oh,
today.
wow.
Yeah, so he's
We'll
got
have to come
a
back and get an interview.
PhD from a Jewish university and in religion, and so he's got a lot to say. He's done a lot of research, and it's maybe worth coming back around. This is a pin given to me by Avraham, who survived the Holocaust. He is 89, and I wear it proudly because we want to prevent anything like that from ever happening again.
Wow. Awesome. Yeah. We'll come back around and interview
Okay.
them. That's
Yes.
fascinating. Thank you.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Here, let's see if we can go find them real quick.
It's pretty interesting to see some counter protest on this.
Yeah, it
We
really
haven't
is.
seen anything like that. We've only seen us kind of going there.
different. Can I ask?
We're looking for the actual protest.
Honestly, me too, bro.
Oh, really?
What I've heard is supposed to meet here at 10.
Right.
And then it goes to 7 p.m. I feel as they have said.
Yeah.
Supposed to meet in the Plaster Student Union. I haven't seen this. I have not been over here.
Okay.
I've kind of just been.
Let's see what we got here. Demand MSU what is this? Divestment?
We demand MSU divestment.
Oh, okay. Okay, we're headed the right way then. Sit in protest, yeah. Maybe they got kicked out of here? I don't know. If you start talking to people, make sure you unmute your mic.
Yeah, I'm gonna see how that is.
I can hear you.
We're gonna use this as a lavalier. We're gonna hold it up to them.
I'll mute on then.
Let me try to see if I can get this out of here.
Go there. Where is my brush?
Like our convenience store on campus.
There we go.
Oh yeah, they're like eating lunch.
Wow.
Hey, how's it going?
I think we're going pretty good today. What's the other thing?
What's with the watermelon?
Watermelon? Got it? Got just a person to talk to you about that.
Oh, okay.
I think that's a racist stereotype.
Oh, there's a yarmulke.
Oh,
Wow.
good. How are you?
What association are you with?
Me personally, so I'm not affiliated with any particular
Oh, gotcha.
organization.
Oh, okay. Some bullets. Hidden behind you.
Nice to say yourself much more.
Huh.
Is your mic muted?
My mic is.
Oh yeah, unmute that, and then we can get your audio and then the audio.
Oh, okay.
It'll be weird though.
It just feeds back. Would you want to do an interview?
I actually already did it. You'd be able to see it on KYC.
with Tyler Chandler. Who?
Yeah, KYC. Hold on. One moment. One moment. Is this one of the Jameses? Your name James? I'm one of the Jameses. Yes.
Okay. Yeah, we've met you before, I think.
Are you all this like a organization?
Yeah, well, we're with a stream. It's called Late Night Freedom Stream.
Where can I find that?
Facebook, Twitch,
Twitter.
YouTube, Twitter. You're with the Young Communists, is that right?
I think that's the other James.
Is that from the January 18th protest?
Yeah, me and Mark.
Yeah, you sat down with me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
Here, can you help me find you on YouTube? I want to.
maybe you can point the camera at us,
With the camera, yeah.
like.
Let's walk and talk. I actually saw
Okay.
some chalk outside. I haven't seen
Okay.
all of it yet.
Like, you said there was stuff on the bear head or on the bear statue? Oh, all right. What was the?
What organization are you associated with?
You had it right on YCL.
What is it?
YCL.
What is that?
You had it right early.
Oh.
Obviously, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
How'd you link up with that? Like, what was the kind of the impetus for that?
I think I had the same journey as most other people.
I'm not familiar.
Joining other organizations that are for a specific cause. You find it online. Well, I found this one online.
Here, and grab the door for you guys.
What's this channel?
Late Night Freedom Stream. Yeah, we were looking at some of this earlier. The sidewalk chalk.
Is that you?
Yeah, that's us right now. Mm-hmm. We're live streaming. Yep. Yep. So is this particular demonstration is a continuation of a call for a ceasefire, or what is the objective ultimately?
It's very similar to what other student protests have been doing. It's not supposed to be in support of, like, the idea is not that we're supporting the protests. We're acting in solidarity with them.
You mean like the UCLA and like more of like kind of the tumultuous ones that have been in the news?
We're talking about the general ideas of organizing for this specific issue of Palestinian genocide across the nation, wherever they may be. Our specific focus is on solidarity with Palestine, fighting here through policy change and getting people more aware of what's going on, to sit in and call for Missouri State University to disclose where they're putting our money.
The divestment.
Divestment, very much one of them, as well as being completely transparent with everything that they put our money towards, not just university as a public institution, but also the Missouri State University Foundation. While that is a public entity, or sorry, a private entity, that still has a large role in what happens at Missouri State fiscally. And, you know, even though that's not covered by Sunshine Law, so we can't figure that out unless Cliff, who just walked by, agrees to that before he leaves.
What is the concern with, like, I mean, generally I understand wanting to know the organization, the institution you're going to school at, kind of knowing what they're doing with their funds, but as it relates to this particular issue that you're passionate about, what are you wanting to see from these fiscal reports? What are you interested in?
It's the truth. I want to see where our money is going. If nothing's going to Israeli companies or nothing is supporting this genocide, great. Then we can look at all the rest and see, critique on a more like polishing level of, is this going to the right place, and in other aspects. If there is stuff that's being sent in such a way that it coincides with Palestinian genocide, then that's our first priority, at least with the Springfield coalition.
Okay, so I asked PSL members this because I don't know, like, does your party have like an official stance on how to achieve the end of the genocide in Palestine?
You can find that on cpusa.org. I will say YCL, we are a student body that's more socialism 101. We're a little bit more detached from the party itself.
Okay.
But you're a youth wing. So again, cpusa.org, you'll find in our party program. If you check back again in like July, September, October, it'll absolutely be in there somewhere.
Maybe you could explain to me too, like, it's interesting in the West, socialism is being advertised as like like an equitable thing, like it is related with Western social causes like the LGBTQ, you have the Black Lives Matter pin on. What would you say is the link there between like socialism and like this kind of social activism in the West?
I'm not sure if I understand your question.
Well, I feel as if like historically, when you look at countries that have used socialism or communism, they're not really progressive. So this like new wave, like this new generation of socialists like yourself are interested in progressive politics. And I'm just curious like what the relationship is between like socialist like philosophy and like progressive politics.
So I can point you towards like a few books. Of course, the number one socialist philosophy text would be the Manifesto by Marx.
Yeah.
There's also talk in Left-Wing Communism and Infantile Disorder by Lenin. What is to be Done is a very good book for this topic. Going into the history of what socialism is and how it started is very interesting. Back in 1750s, there was a book published, Wealth of Nations by M. Smith. He's like the guy who spoke about capitalism before Marx did. At that point, capitalism was just coming out from feudal ties and becoming its own organized economic entity or idea, concept. It's only after Smith, the Scotsman, wrote this book, and then Hamilton, of course, in the United States, also being a Scotsman, took these ideas and translated that into our economic system where capitalism came to flourish. Everything's hunky-dory there. Socialism was thought about well before capitalism, even though its necessary endpoint, capitalism's necessary endpoint, translates towards leaning socialist. Back in, I think it was the 14 or 1500s, there's a book by Robert Owen. I can't remember the title of it. Utopia. That's where you get the name utopian socialisms from that book. Until the 1780s and 90s, up until that point, from Robert Owen to then, socialism was just what?
I think it was Thomas More.
Yes, Thomas More. Thank you. Until that point, it had been utopian. There wasn't too much science behind it, not just like natural science, but social science, like political science and political philosophies behind it. We want the world to be better. We, as the working people in our society, want to reap the benefits of said society. And because we are the majority, we want to have a majority say. All these ideas were prevalent at that time, but there wasn't a lot of concrete, why is this the case? Is it actually the case? And what ways can we implement these things while also being equal and equitable? It took until the 19th century with new French philosophers and German, English philosophers going and delving deeper into uncovering or taking the kernel of thought from Hegel's dialectic. He was an idealist. Socialism.
Hegel.
Yeah. He was an idealist. Idealism isn't very synonymous with socialism.
He was kind of the father of existentialism in a way too.
I would say that, would that be Sartre?
No, there were people before Sartre. Mostly like.
Well, because Kierkegaard kind of built on a lot of Hegel's, like the dialectic, and Kierkegaard's regarded as one of like the most influential existentialists, but I mean, that's kind of neither here nor there.
Yeah. Actually, can you talk about existentialism?
Oh, yeah, I mean, philosophy.
You know better than me too.
I'm reading
Kierkegaard and Hegel.
Fear and Trembling right now.
I read that in Dr. Ralph Shane's class here. It was like one of the first books. Hegel himself was very like paternalistic in his like social thought. He did not really believe in a lot of like the value of the individual, stuff like that. He was very community driven and like kind of an authoritarian sort of way.
Right.
And Kierkegaard, his entire thing was, like Hegel sucks, and he didn't want to systemize, faith and religion and all that in the same way Hegel was trying to.
Right.
And Kierkegaard is really where existentialism started, but he did develop his work as a response to Hegel.
Yes. That's cool. That's a class I'd actually like to take. That's
we talked about Hegel, Kierkegaard, a little bit of Hegel, like a little of the background philosophers for the people we read, but the main philosophers we read are Kierkegaard, Nietzsche, Heidegger, Derrida. Then we're currently going through Theodore Adorno and Pierre Bourdieu.
I particularly like what you said about Derrida a little while ago.
What did I say?
You had a lot to say about him.
Oh yeah, I think I was going off on the bus or whatever. But
tangent, yeah.
You may get back to me.
So what is your conviction with because to me, with socialism, it seems like it would have to be like, you guys are pretty like grassroots, I guess. I wonder, because there's like a lot of uniformity. Like if you look at these protests across the country, like in different states, they have like the same tents, the same signs. So there's some funding coming from somewhere.
Same tents?
Same tents, like
talk about like the same type of tent or like the same?
It looks like there was like a lot of the same, like they bought like 1,000 tents and sent them out to university campuses for people to have these encampments. So, and like the signs, like there's uniformity with the signs. I don't know where you guys get the signs that you hand out, but it's like they look really like similar all across the country. Like
parts of it feels like a little bit of like some kind of federal,
I don't know if I'd call it a federal op, but it's like somebody is funding you guys.
I know that sounds crazy.
110%. But that being said, I only say that because it's like a quasi grassroots movement. But it doesn't seem to me that like for us to live in like a socialist society, it would have to come from the top down. You know what I'm saying? So like what would be like your ideal job in like a socialist society, like, because wouldn't the government kind of decide what your labor, like, because right now in capitalism, I get to go and you get to come to school, figure out what skills and trades you want to be good at. Then you get to enter the workforce and you get to bargain and you get to kind of to set what your value is and go out and like try to achieve that. It seems like under socialism, you're made to do a certain thing, and then like it doesn't actually seem like you own your labor more under a socialist society. Like if you look at like the only place where communism's like actually working right now is like the CCP, which I don't guess you would want to live there, you know, because there's social credit scores. There's actual internment camps with the Uyghur Muslims and slave labor. You know, this is the only example we have right now in the modern world of communism. So I don't know why you would want to take the freest society in the world and make it mirror one of the most oppressive, tyrannical societies that we currently see in the world, being the CCP.
Is that a question or a statement?
Kind of both. Well, I'm trying to get your perspective here. Like, what does it look like? What does it look like?
Go ahead.
I think a lot of the confusion comes down to the fact that like socialism and capitalism are both like terms that like have been talked about for like James been like hundreds of years. Like we have like economists, philosophers, all that, a bunch of different fields, sociologists talking about these terms and what they mean. And there's such a disparity between them, even with like a lot of socialists will say, you know, like that's not real socialism. And they do so for a reason, because there are different strands of thought within socialism. So like as you could take like the Maoists of China, right, and compare them to like some like new age, like French protesters during the 68 protests in May and all that. And those are two people who you both consider socialist, but very different political goals and ideas.
Right. I guess there is even right-wing socialists.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Like you could, you know, like you've heard people argue like the Hitler and Mussolini.
The National Socialists,
right? So, like, if you take like these, you know, radical, like, you know, like French thinkers and you know, Hitler in the same room and you call them both socialist, it begins to, you know, break down the definition of what socialist really means. Yeah. The same thing goes for capitalism, really. You look at different kinds of capitalism we've had. You can take mercantilism versus like the neoliberalism we currently live in, and these are pretty different systems. It's
seems like we have a mix.
Yeah. But I think it's really hard to say what a socialist society would look like, because there is so much disagreement over the answer to that question and different ideas regarding that and what socialism even is. So I think it's going to come down to like who you're asking the question to.
Right.
Yeah. Because like most of us, we probably wouldn't, you know, we don't want to live in the CCP, right?
Right. Well, and in that context, like what is the utopia? What is the fantasy? What is the ideal that you are striving for by, you know, getting involved with an organization such as the Young Communists and like, you know, so I'm assuming you don't want to be like the CCP, right? So is that a safe bet?
So you're just asking like the party goals.
Yeah. Like what is it? What would it look like?
So there's actually on cpusa.org, there is a FAQ page where I think the top question for the longest time has been that same vein.
That CCP thing.
The question of what would American socialism or American communism look like? I think the question was phrased something like, if the Communist Party was in complete power tomorrow, what would it look like? It was something
right. That's essentially what I'm asking. Yeah.
So it's a hard question to answer. Firstly, we'll go into socialism, like my friend here was saying, is a very complex, very diverse thought experiment, just like capitalism is. You have Germany, social democratic, very close to the cusp of socialism relative to like or a corporatist or even fascist, which is still in the vein of capitalism. Talking about that, going back into the theory we were talking or asking about earlier, looking into what communism is and what Marxism and Leninism are. These are the ideas of Communist Party, USA, we're Marxists, we're Leninists. We look to the idea of scientific interpretation and execution of the goals that we have. And that's through dialectical materialism and historical materialism. Those are our philosophy and the social.
Are you an atheist then?
What's that?
Are you an atheist? If it's like a materialist worldview?
Personally, I am an atheist.
Okay.
I can't speak to the rest of.
I would assume you would kind of have to be to subscribe to that worldview.
There's a very common, very strong tie to that, I'd say. Yeah. But looking to like the CCP.
Well, in the PSL, Muslim and
right, we did meet an actual Palestinian guy that was speaking at the PSL.
It's different, like yeah, you can have like Christian culture or like a Muslim or a Jewish culture without having the religious aspect as well. But we can get into that another time.
And I think an important thing to emphasize too is this isn't like this, despite the people we do have, this isn't like a communist thing necessarily. Like, I'm not affiliated with any party, as I've,
You said that you just know a lot of.
Yeah, I just like, I know him, I know some people, so I figured I'd show up. So it's not, the main thing is like Palestine, right? So it's not like a necessarily communist thing, which is why I think, like there's no like necessity to be an atheist or anything like that if you want to show up to a protest.
Yeah.
Right.
We're organizing on the concept that it's not the YCL that's organizing this. It's not PSL, even though KY3 decided they're going to say PSL was, they call it Party for Socialism.
Yeah,
Earlier. They said, what was it? Party for Socialism and Libertarianism?
Yeah. There are a lot of different communist parties.
Damn KY3, that's bad reporting.
Yeah. What was it?
I have no idea.
So you were saying that it's more of a Marxist-Leninist, materialist kind of worldview.
Right. So we were talking about China earlier.
Right.
Everyone knows the phrase that China uses to describe themselves as socialism with Chinese characteristics. Going further into that idea, we can interpolate socialism with X regions or countries' characteristics. They didn't take the Leninism, the Bolshevism of the Soviet Union. That's why they had the Sino-Soviet split. They had a different idea because that is what worked in the Chinese region. The same idea with America. It would be socialism or communism with American characteristics. There are just some aspects of the American work of the American society that are integral to our culture that they may be strongly linked with capitalism right now, or like our idea of like American exceptionalism, or we're the last vestige of capitalist democracy. Like we have pride, we have like all these ideas that have been intertwined. Our idea of culture and patriotism are so intertwined, but it doesn't have to be. With American socialism, you can still have these cultural values that instill what a socialist experiment would look like.
Okay.
Same way as the war between the British and American citizens here during the American Revolution. They were under rule indirect rule, direct rule of King George III. They're under the rule of a king, a monarchy, but they still had these cultural ties that still that are still pervasive today.
Are there American values that you appreciate?
I feel like that's a pretty
loaded question. Well, I just feel like me and you would disagree about what is like special about America. And maybe I'm wrong about that. Like, hopefully I'm wrong about that. But, because you're an advocate for like these progressive causes, which I would say lots of them are antithetical to kind of like what the West is based on, which is like meritocracy and like rugged individualism, so, and kind of, the Christian roots, I think, are important to America. But if you're coming from a perspective where you're telling me, we could have a culturally Christian kind of socialist utopia, why should I be compelled to believe that when, the person who's interested in having the socialist utopia wouldn't be interested in preserving the Christian cultural aspect of it? You're an atheist, you're a supporter of Black Lives Matter. Like, you're not, you benefit from the inheritance of cultural Christianity, but it doesn't seem like you fully like appreciate it. And maybe I'm wrong, so like.
Yeah, but how do you take that from what I've said?
Well, because you're making me wonder, because you're saying we can still maintain the positive culture of America as we transition to this different form of government. But like, in your opinion, what are the positive things about America? Are you proud to be an American? Do you appreciate any American values?
So I'm a German, and I was born in England, so I'm not from the United States.
You have dual citizenship though, right?
Yeah, technically. I was raised in America. I like to say that I am proud to be an American, but I'm not proud to be a U.S. citizen. I have a very clear disconnect in my mind between the United States as a polity, as a political entity, and as a state, and the American people.
Why don't you denounce your U.S. citizenship then, if you're so opposed to it?
I don't really think that would.
It wouldn't do anything.
Also, that costs money. That's like $500. I don't have that, man. I'm a student.
Yeah.
But
Well, I mean, it sounds cool, but I mean, realistically, you would like lose a lot of your rights to be here.
yeah, in order to denounce my citizenship, that'd be a whole process. But I also, that's not my personal goal. Like, it wouldn't solve anything for me to renounce it. There's no like positive or negative that I take away from it.
I mean, yeah, you look at the people who like founded this country, for instance, like those were originally British, right? And they came over in the colonies, and it wasn't like there was some like anti-British propaganda and stuff, but they still had pretty strong cultural ties to that. And they weren't breaking away because they were like, oh, we just hate the British and that's it. They were doing it for the betterment of the place that they were living in these colonies. And the pilgrims and all that came over not because of hate or any like disdain for what they were, living under before, but like as a reaction to what they thought could be better. They wanted a more
Something there. I gotta get to the other side of campus. I have the study hall. So yeah, that'll be the end of our review. But these guys did seem pretty open to talking earlier.
Yeah, we'll get an interview with them. Thank you for the thanks for the interview. I'll shake it. What's your name?
Dylan.
Dylan? Cool. Dylan what? Dylan Nish?
McNish.
McNish. Yeah, I dig that you're like into philosophy and stuff. If you want to come on the show some other time, like
Yeah, I'm also a religious studies major, so I'd love to talk about like Christian values.
we're always talking about Christianity and philosophy and stuff. We come from like a right-wing perspective, but it would be really cool to like.
It's really like, I guess it really depends on like what you mean by that question, because yeah, because like Christian itself, like it's one of those terms like socialism and capitalism that can mean a lot of things.
Since I'm leaving, we go and tell them about that and take care of.
I will, yeah.
Yeah. Sorry. Yeah. While they're interviewing them, we can do that.
Yeah. Oh, I'll make sure to do that. But yeah, that can mean a lot of things. So like, I guess.
A little bossy. Oh my God.
Yeah.
They don't want to shake my hand either.
Some of us are nice,
Yeah, no, you seem really nice. So yeah. I'll if you find our page on Facebook and message us for our late night freedom stream, we'll have you on the show again. We'll have like a long form, like deep philosophical, like religious conversation. I think that'd be really cool. So thank you again.
Yep.
This is Leighton. He's my Zoomer producer. Yes. Occasionally. Yeah. Thank you.
That's a pretty good interview.
It was all right. It was a little boring.
We decided to go to Jerusalem. So we went to Jerusalem, and the day we got
Turn the
there,
volume down on that.
we just did, the old city thing, and then we woke up the next morning, and that was the day that Hamas actually took over the Gaza Strip officially. Yes, and we got stuck there for a couple.
Oh, you were there on October 7th?
No.
Oh, well.
20 long time ago.
Do you mind being on camera? We're live streaming. We're interviewing people and stuff.
On camera right now. Yeah, I don't want to be on.
Okay.
All right, that's you can record my voice though.
Okay, cool. We want to interview you.
I know you're just after my good look.
I know it. Yeah.
But anyways, that was just sort of a story that's tagged with October.
That's pretty amazing.
But
I was in Egypt when they voted in the Muslim Brotherhood, which is kind of like the grandfather of Hamas.
Oh, wow.
That was an interesting time. We had to basically sneak out of Egypt in the middle of the night.
sounds fun.
Yeah. Welcome to the Middle East, right?
Is anybody giving you any trouble with your son?
Over here? No.
Those kids in there don't like confrontation. They're all like huddled in, like hidden behind the chairs, like surrounding each other.
Yeah.
We have to like pull them out to interview them.
We've interacted with a lot of them before. I think twice now. Once was here back at the campus when we did it.
January they had up.
Yeah.
We did that, and then we went out to the square in Springfield and did some stuff there.
I did one on this walking bridge, and I went up and started asking them questions. They were holding signs for cars, and they literally just loaded their crap up and left. Like, oh, you spoiled our fun,
They don't know the answers, unfortunately. They're not researched, and so they're just part of a movement. And I was a wild hippie. And I was.
You get it.
I get it. I get it. You know, God bless them.
They got too much free time is their
Yeah.
problem,
Yeah,
really.
they must have done really well and don't need to study for their exams.
Right.
Bad day.
I'm gonna keep writing.
Yeah.
I'm gonna stop at
Yeah.
crying.
Stop
Nice to see you.
soon.
Yeah, I've been to your house. I'm sure you don't remember it, but I've been to your house.
I bet so.
It was 20 plus years ago.
Yeah, I bet so. Well, good to run into you again.
Dude. Yeah, I feel like part of this is definitely for like attention.
Yeah.
For some of them, like I don't feel like a lot of them are well versed. Like we talked to some people who were pretty good and had some stuff on their.
Well, he knew the script, you know, he was telling us about Lenin and Mao, and I was trying to ask him about like what
Let's go
would
down into Israel.
Let's talk
Right.
about now and here, this.
right would tell us about what's going on from your guys' perspective.
So like our journey with Israel started in 1982 when we moved there. I did a master's degree in Hebrew language.
I'm
there.
Jacob Ferguson, by
Hey,
the way.
Jacob, my name's Wave. This is Lacey.
Nice to meet you guys.
And we lived there and studied there, and our son kind of partly grew up there, and we made great friends on both the Palestinian side and the Israeli side, and are still friends with these guys, and are doing what we can to support them. So we just got back from Israel about a week and a half ago. We were there for 2.5 weeks shooting video, and then we did some volunteering, some service, and went in and visited with injured Israeli IDF soldiers, guys who were just maimed. I mean, just mangled from IEDs, blown up their legs. A guy got shot through the back, came out his stomach. He was in a coma for 40 days, been in rehab for 6 months. Another guy, half of his face was burned, lost sight in most of his sight in his eye. And these guys are just, as far as I'm concerned, they're heroes. They're trying to keep their people safe. And that's really all that anybody wants is, A, leave me alone. And if you won't, then I want the right to keep my people safe. And so
Are you guys like Messianic Jews, or
we're just believers in Jesus, that believe the Bible, and we're really serious about that commitment. And you know, the Bible says over and over and over again, over and over and over again, from Genesis all the way through into the New Testament, this is the land of Israel. This is the land that God gave to Abraham, to Isaac, to Jacob, to Joseph and his 11 brothers, to the tribes of Israel. And in the New Testament, it talks about how the gifts and the call of God, the promises of God are still in effect. They're still there. So it's not hard math for us.
well, I consider myself a Christian as well. I'm glad I'm actually talking to you, because I've been struggling with a lot of these topics, and it's an interesting thing. It's the first time that I've seen like people on the left and people on like the far right have unity in a way where they're like both like screw the Jews, essentially. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And I disagree with that, obviously, but I am more kind of into the whole America first thing now, where it's like, why do we need to send money to Israel? And you know, why did, like, this is a weird thing to me too. Like, Israel has like the most sophisticated like border wall, like defense system in the world.
Yeah.
And they didn't see like, you know, terrorists, you know, with parachutes and little carts.
That is really a question that I think time will give us answers for that.
Weird, isn't it?
But it is weird.
Yeah.
It is very
well, and
weird.
then they attack Iran, and then we use our missile systems to defend the strike back. It's like, it seems like Israel's doing stuff that I don't want to be associated with, really. You know, and I am a Christian, so I have this kind of like, my name is Jacob.
Right.
My name is Jacob.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
We have a son named Jacob.
Yeah. And so I just, you know, I'm want to fix problems at home. And, you know, I see that in Israel, they're doing they're trying to like bring on the end of the world. Like, they get the red heifer from Texas and they're going to put it in the temple. And
little segment of people.
Well,
it's
and I'm not convinced that they're not going to like fulfill God's prophecy before it's God's time to fulfill it, you know? So I
just please know that, I mean, we go to Israel all the time, more than 100 trips, 40 years. That is a small little group, just like a group in Springfield may believe something.
Right.
It's not, it's a small group that sometimes people with a voice can put it out there. So
it's exciting, it's sensational, it gets traction.
It has gotten a lot of
Christians ask us all the time, what about the end of time? What about the end of time? Is it coming? You know what? We're living today. We're standing today. We're standing for Israel today. And the end of time,
we're also standing for civilization. You know,
If I visited somewhere in the Middle East, if I had to pick between Israel and Palestine, it'd be Israel, 100%.
Well, on the October the 7th thing, that's barbarity in its purest form.
The Hamas are barbarians.
Yeah.
There's no justification for that.
And so I try to explain when I speak in churches or small groups, I try to explain this is not the first kick at the cat that Israel's had with Hamas. Hamas started a war in 2008. It went into 2009. Then they started another one in 2012 and another one in 2014, another one in 2021. And this is the fifth major confrontation between, and Israel has basically said, okay, well, October, the other four, and now October the 7th, this is where we draw our line in the sand. And we are not going to have a avowed terrorist group who has sworn that they would fight to the end of Israel, to the destruction of Israel.
And they would, like,
And
I've seen street interviews with Palestinians where they justify the October 7th attack, and it's crazy because it's like Gazans are kind of being like killed en masse. Like, there are innocent people in Palestine dying, with the carpet bombings and just like leveling everything. But it's like, that's what war looks like.
That is what war looks like.
And
if you're a terrorist and you put out the news, who is the Ministry of Health in Gaza? Hamas. They say that. So they're giving you information,
numbers on
the dead, numbers on what's happening.
Well, I've seen footage of like whole cities just leveled.
Oh, of course. Of course. But what does Israel do before? They put out loudspeakers. They say, we're coming in. Get out.
They carpet bomb them, pamphlets, leave this area. Tomorrow it hits the ground.
Right. Well, and even if that wasn't the case, which I'll assume that it is,
Yeah.
But like asking a nation to cease fire when they have been being attacked is
still
insane.
being fired.
You as a family member, if someone killed all your family, we want you to cease fire because we want,
Yeah, those home invaders are coming and quit shooting at them. Right.
Golda Meir said, how can you make peace with someone who's come to kill you?
That's right. That's right. Yeah, I just hate us sending tax money to Israel now. Like, it's like, I don't have a dog in the fight. Like, I'm a Christian, but it's like, I don't know. It's kind of like Ukraine and Russia now. Like,
not crazy about that either.
Like, if you can't support your own civilization, like if you can't sustain as a nation independently, you kind of don't deserve to be a nation. I'm sorry.
The other side of that, though, is Israel is the canary in the coal mine. I don't know if you are familiar with that term.
Yeah.
It's basically back in the day before they had all kinds of advanced detectors and stuff. Coal miners were being killed because of gases that would seep into the tunnels and stuff like that. So they would hang a canary there. The canary, being the smallest thing, is going to die first, right?
Yeah.
That way they knew to get out. Israel is the canary in the coal mine. And if democracy, if modernity, if civilization loses that toehold, we've already seen it in the United States. Hamas is here. They've been here since the 80s.
Yeah.
They've been prosecuted. They're in jail.
Well, and even like places like UK and Britain are like unrecognizable now.
Yes.
And it's crazy.
So if it's, it's kind of like back in the days of, the war against terror, quote unquote, was we can choose to fight them here, but it's a whole lot better to fight them there. And I think that as Israel goes, so goes Western civilization, us included. So, look the other way. Friends are. We made phone calls. We put it on our social media stuff. And we're busy. Or we'll pray for you. No, we need you out here. Springfield needs you out here. Your neighborhood needs you out here. Because if that's what gets inside, from the river to the sea, if that's what gets all of the publicity, if that's the only voice being spoken, well, then the canary in the coal mine dies, and so do the rest of us eventually. It's just a matter of time.
Yeah, it is weird to see that it's the new Black Lives Matter is like destroy Israel. Like, how did this happen? You know what I mean? Because it's like, it seems like, they had the Black Lives Matter protest leading up to the election, the last cycle, and now this is like their new way to get activists on the street, have all these useful idiots messing stuff up, and then a news cycle. and they're spreading this message, this pro-Palestinian message. It does seem like it's like setting up groundwork for like just I don't know, and it's mixed with this like this question of like immigration, you know, with everything that's happening with southern border. So yeah, I don't know. I'm just kind of thinking out loud. You got me thinking, but
Now, as a believer, the first thing that we do is we look at, we take our cues from the Bible. When the Bible says, this is going to be for you a land that's going to be an eternal possession. It's going to be forever, everlasting. All of the days and that kind of language. I mean, where do you go from that? You say, oh, well, maybe God's got to hit the redo button, you know. Maybe with the reset, maybe he tries some other land or some other group of people. Doesn't say anything really positive about God. Can't make up his mind. He doesn't know what he's doing. He's, you know, just kind of throwing Jello up against the wall and hoping something sticks.
I'm just not sure how important the geographical location is. You know what I mean? Like, because the Jewish people, what is it called? Like, they're like there's a word that means they're spread everywhere.
Diaspora.
Yeah, diaspora people. That's it. So it's like,
well, back in 47, when they were debating this, it was the end of World War II, and you have the United Nations as a newly formed, coming out of League of Nations, and they're going, well, maybe Paraguay. Let's give them part of Paraguay. You know, these beleaguered Holocaust survivors that even their home countries don't even want them coming back. Maybe Uganda. Maybe we should think about Uganda. But they basically decided, look, the national homeland of the Israelite/Jewish people has always been this chunk of territory. There's a problem. The problem is that within Islam, there is a cardinal doctrine. It's kind of like we believe Jesus is the Son of God. Salvation is by grace through faith. The Bible is inspired by God. Those kinds of doctrines.
Essential doctrine.
Yes, there's an essential doctrine within Islam. It's called Dar al-Islam. It means the house of Islam. But the teaching behind it is that any area that has ever come under Islamic domination, under Islamic control, has been ruled by a Muslim ruler, should always and forever be under control of Islam. And anywhere now that's been the new kind of development on this by the imams and the mullahs is anywhere that there's a significant population of Muslims, it should be under Islamic control and under Islamic leadership.
I've even heard that they can lie until they're like the majority, and then they'll start kind of telling you what's actually going on. Because like if you talk to like Muslim apologists, they're like, oh no, we don't want to kill or generally mutilate or
there
do
are different
anything.
ways of doing jihad. One is called the jihad of the tongue. So that's what you're talking about. And it's totally legitimizes misleading and misdirection and misinformation and all of that.
That's your favorite form of jihad.
What?
Jihad of the tongue.
Jihad of the tongue. But on this Dar al-Islam is like, okay, well, I guess we just give London to them. Paris, Brussels.
No.
You know, right?
It's such a shame to see.
Dearborn, Michigan, please. So we can't go with that.
Right. Well, and our cultures are not like Western, like they're antithetical to each other. The values of Christianity and Islam, they really are. So it's like we live in a culture where we have to be inclusive, and it's weird. You see weird like bedmates, right? Because like the LGBTQ activists will be on the side of Hamas,
right?
Where Hamas would have them all dead.
They will,
you know, but they're it's useful for them right now. Well, especially them, because it's, you know, what they do is considered degenerate in Islam.
People who are religiously liberal, they will be the next to go. After
Right.
they get rid of gays and lesbians, then people who are religiously liberal and are not, you know, like strictly observant.
Right.
In their definition, right? They're the next to go. Then anybody that practices another form of faith, they're the next to go. And they would have that. They have that.
It's a weird, fragile alliance.
They've got that in the Gaza Strip. Are we comfortable with first giving them the big toehold of Israel as a whole, and then a caliphate in the Middle East, and then most of Eastern and Western Europe, like you said, and now even places like, you know, Dearborn, Michigan, and places like that.
Have you been to Palestine?
We just got back from Israel a week and a half ago. We lived there in 80 and 82. We were there at the beginning of the war.
So I was
October 7th.
I realized I talked to this. There's a guy who's a party, or he was a guest speaker for the Party for Socialism and Liberation, and he was a Palestinian who was living in the States. And I was under the preconceptions that it was like under Sharia law. Like I thought it was basically Saudi Arabia, but I found out that it's a little bit more progressive than something like Saudi Arabia. Like
The Gaza Strip.
well, he was saying Palestine, like he was having me Google stuff like, can women drive? It was like, yeah, women can drive. It's like there's female actresses. Like, what is the culture like? You know?
I don't do real well with sun.
Oh, okay. Because I just thought it was like just as regressive as Saudi Arabia, but it seems like it's slightly more modern, maybe because it's connected to Israel, or maybe a weird question.
Somewhat, but there's still, for example, honor killings. If someone marries the wrong person or decides that they want to change their faith or whatever, those people will die. That they will be, their lives will be shortened significantly. In Gaza, they will, if a woman, for example, wears eye makeup or lipstick, they will threaten to and have in the past cut off lips and eyelids. You know, it's just
that's pretty regressive.
Pretty barbaric.
Yeah.
That's medieval. That's even more than medieval. That's 7th century stuff.
Right. Or remind me your name again.
My name's Wave.
Wave
Nunnally.
Wave Nunnally, Jake Ferguson.
Nice to meet with you guys.
Thank you for your time. I appreciate the interview.
You guys are amazing. Y'all just keep on skating around and doing what you're doing. You know, it's really information that is going to, it's not bombs, it's not numbers, it's information that is going to resolve this issue and bring more light than heat. I believe. I think that people inside the building are information starved.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's the age of information. It's like knowledge is power.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think this is
some of it, right? instead of developing your theology or your way of life based on TikTok.
Yeah.
For God's sake. I mean, gosh.
I think it's fashion. A lot of it they find fashionable. And well, I think it's a lack of meaning too, where they look at the civil rights movements that we had for like Black Americans and they go, wow, that was powerful. That was important. I'm going to be part of a movement. I'm part of a civil rights movement. We never had gay slaves. Like, I don't see why being LGBTQ means you need to support Hamas and be against Israel. Like, their ideology is so confused and they can't defend it. Like, okay, so gender is a social construct, yet when you decide to be a lady, you have to wear pink and stilettos. Like, what? Like, is it a social construct? Is that what you do when you're a woman? Like, what is the
interesting?
It's
observation.
None of it aligns. There's no harmony.
If you decide that you're going to go gay, why do you all of a sudden have to start walking and talking
like a woman?
Yes.
Isn't that a social construct, or is a woman a real thing? You know?
Yeah. Does it have to? Is there some requirement, to get your card that you default automatically to that only?
Right. There's no logic there. And then they keep not like J.K. Rowling's always in the news. They're like, oh, she's a TERF because she hates trans women. It's like, no, she's an old school feminist that is an advocate of women. Trans women are men. So she's advocating for the real women, and that makes her the bad guy to the left. Where this is like traditional liberal, like women's suffrage kind of stuff. It's like you said, they're uneducated.
The dots don't have to connect.
Well, and they're reverse educated. They come here and they get liberal professors that feed them the theology of the left and indoctrinate them into this crap. Like they literally pay tens of thousands of dollars to become stupid. I swear, dude. Like if I had $1 for every time I meet somebody and they're like, yeah, I used to be a Christian, then I went to university. It's like, I'd have a lot of money. They breed it out of people.
Right.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
They breed the truth out of people. Well, we're going to go try to talk to some other people. I appreciate your time, Wes.
Hey, nice to meet y'all.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. Bye-bye. Your phone's on 10%, by the way.
Oh, it is?
So we might have to switch to the camera too, but
okay.
It's whatever. It's fine. I'm sure you pull good audio from it.
Yeah, we've done pretty good. I don't know how interesting these people.
Like we've been getting a lot of pretty good. What's your views?
4, not bad. I'm getting a little laggy here. Is my phone like about to die? Yeah, we might have to wrap this up soon, but I feel like we've had some good interviews.
Yeah.
See what these nerds are doing. Yeah, that guy is really interesting.
So we see counter protests. So we never really see counter protests.
Right.
It's like
They're literally, they're just chilling. What's with the watermelons? Hey, let's get the watermelons. I don't get that. Hey. Yeah, I mean, I get that, but I don't think that's what they intend with it. You get that one? I don't get it. Why? Why watermelons? Why?
It's like they got a big old area blocked off.
Yeah. I don't understand. Is anybody else doing the sit-in want to be interviewed? Anybody?
Who are you with?
We do a live stream called Late Night Freedom Stream.
No.
The trans yarmulke is it's an interesting feature there. Are you in support of Israel then?
No, not at all.
What's the idea with the trans yarmulke? Can you support Palestine?
Yes.
You got to give us an interview. I mean, that's interesting.
No, thank you.
What do you think God would think of the trans yarmulke? You know, if you're in Jewish thing. Like, I'm not trying to, be a bully here, but I'm just, asking. Like, these are like weird culture jamming kind of things. Like,
No, I'm good. I don't trust that. So.
Okay. Well,
we'll move away.
I don't blame you for not wanting to explain that because it doesn't really make much sense at all. We'll see if we can talk to somebody else. No, we're with the thing called Late Night Freedom Stream. Essentially, I guess. Yeah.
What do you feel like you're voting?
Christian, conservative. What does it mean to me? Well, I suppose it would mean that, I believe that Jesus Christ is the Son of God. And as far as just like conservative, I believe in capitalism. I think it's the best form of government we could have. It's just kind of, I would consider myself pro-life, like, pretty traditionally conservative.
Like, so what does pro-life mean to you?
Preserving innocent life.
Yeah. Do you think the Palestinian people are innocent?
Well, I mean, from a Christian perspective, everybody's fallen. Nobody's innocent, right? But as far as like a geopolitical, like warfare question, they struck first in this particular instance.
Like the children.
Well, I'm talking about like October 7th in particular.
But like the 42,000 people that have died weren't there.
Innocent people have died on both sides.
Yeah, I can agree with that, but we have 42,000 plus and like a lot more under the rubble as well. So I don't think it's fair to say that all the children that have died, all the people, the mothers that have died, where you can't really necessarily say that they were there. It's like if anyone
Well, this is warfare, right?
If anyone wanted to attack America for the things that we've done, would you say that we would deserve it?
No.
So isn't it that same as Palestinian people? Would you say that the people aren't their government?
It was the October 7th attack of Israel justified?
No.
Okay, so.
I don't think for them attacking Palestine, I was not.
And I would say even the level of retaliation that Israel has leveled against the Palestinian people is kind of unjustified, but like war is a terrible thing, right? So my whole thing.
Genocide is a terrible thing.
Yeah.
It's terrible. Genocide is a little.
42,000
Well,
people.
innocent people die in every war. So, I mean, if you want to call every war that's ever happened a genocide, I guess you could by that definition.
To be engaging in, I don't. There's no war. There's no war happening. There's a genocide happening now.
I think though, like for Christianity purposes, that I don't think that would be an excuse, like an excuse. Like you say you're Christian, you're pro-life, but I don't think that we can justify this. And I think you can.
Well, I'm an American conservative too, so really my position is no, like I'm done with foreign wars.
Yeah.
I don't want to support Israel. I don't want to support Ukraine.
Yeah.
I don't want to support Palestine. I don't want to support Russia. I want to solve our problems at home.
Yeah.
And I want to let the rest of the world figure their shit out.
Luckily, though, that's what we're calling for. It's for the divestment of funds, which is to make sure that MSU has a neutral party in it. So we don't want anyone being able to fund it. So a lot of these American companies are funding Israel, which is choosing a side. So that's what our main thing is here. We are trying to make sure that no arms are being given to them at all. So that if you want to call it a war for what they're doing, then let them fight that. But America should not be helping Israel at all. And with all the aid blockages, yeah. So that's what we're just here to do, though, and just to make sure that no more people die, calling for a ceasefire, calling for a divestment of American funds to Israel. That's our main goal here. Okay. And that's like preserving more innocent lives as well. So we might be closer in agreement than you may think.
Maybe.
The January 19th protest, was that here at MSU? Which one are you referring to? Okay, are you talking about the one that?
I feel like I recognize you.
Yeah.
Speaking, yeah.
Yes, I did speak at I don't know what day it was, but I remember it was cold.
Are you associated with one of the parties?
No, I am not. I am actually just a member of the community.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah. So I'm just a person that cares, wants to show up, but I really do love MSU and all the organizations here.
What is the, because the last time I had beef because they were like, call for a ceasefire. And it's like, you say it's a genocide, which I get why you would call for a ceasefire if it was a genocide. But like, so Palestine like attacked Israel first, and they're gonna keep fighting, right? So are you guys still calling for a ceasefire, or is it just the divestment?
The fact that like Israel is on occupied land. That was all Palestine. You could go back years and years and years, and you'll see that it was all Palestinian land, and which was taken from them. Palestinian people are put in ghettos. For Gaza, for the West Bank, they cannot leave or enter without Israeli approval. So for that, it's like I feel as the retaliation group that you're referring to is essentially what would be close. I would describe in my own words as the Black Panthers. They were here to make sure.
See Hamas as freedom fighters?
I think they're freedom fighters. I truly think they are. And again, I don't expect you to agree with me.
It's a hard sell.
But yeah. I think for me, that's what I would closely relate them to. And they're trying to make sure that they can get their people back, to make sure that they can get their land back, and to be able to do the things that are their God-given right, which is to live a long and fruitful life. So that's what we expect from there. So I don't think you could justify, say, October 7th with, we don't know where this came from, when you're sitting and partying on top of the land from the Nakba that happened. What was that, 1946? With all the
Where should they go?
Where should the Israeli people go?
Yeah.
Well, a lot of the people, isn't Netanyahu from Philadelphia? So
I don't know about all that. But I mean, like the Jewish people, because it was in 1947 when after World War II, where the concentration camps were ended.
Then let's pull out the people that did the concentration camps. Where's Germany in all this? Like if World War II did not happen, the Holocaust didn't happen, we honestly wouldn't even be having this conflict as we see it right now. So let's not blame the Palestinian people from the effects of the abuse of the Jewish people from what they were dealing with. Let's go back to who started it, which is the United Nations and all those people who.
Well, I would argue if it wasn't for these freedom fighters, as you put it, Hamas, that there wouldn't be a bunch of like smoldering corpses of civilians right now.
You're speaking a lot of history, though.
But it was a counterattack. It was like.
No, I'm saying before Palestine.
Yeah, but
not a war started. I don't know where it's been happening for 70 years.
But the totality of the fighting was like nothing compared to what it is now.
From Palestine, people have been kidnapped
before October.
But they weren't bombing. They weren't carpet bombing. They weren't doing all this.
They were.
Before October 7th, there was like relative peace.
But like, there's no peace in occupation.
I mean, you say no and you roll your eyes like I'm stupid, but like tell me like.
You could literally go look it up.
Why don't you tell me if you're so educated and this is like your main shtick? I see you at all the protests, helping support all of the things, handing out signs. Well, she was just rolling her eyes at me. So.
You're doing your
job.
Are
you paid to do this? This is your job.
Volunteer work. You would say that you following Christ is your job. This is our job.
Well, it's not my job. That's my religious conviction.
Yes.
I do work.
And we work as well. Everyone here works. We're also college students. Some of us are college students. I don't go to college here, but it's like we're all doing our work. So don't be a certain type of way because they're rolling their eyes.
Well, I mean, just tell me like, okay, so before October 7th, and where were the bombings? Like, what was
that? The whole war.
This place
years prior. But like in recent,
2006.
oh, so like a decade ago, we were dropping bombs. So you're kind of conceding that after October 7th, that's when the fighting ramped up because clearly that's what happened.
What I'm
Right.
saying is that you were wrong that it wasn't happening before.
Yeah, but to the extent that it is happening now.
You still don't support Israel, right? Like you're like neutral though.
I don't support anybody that's not America. I mean, if it's not America, it
So
doesn't
then-
matter to me.
What's your purpose?
Some people in America, some Republicans, who some rhinos, I would say. Joe Biden, right? Isn't that your guys' guy?
We know.
Isn't that y'all's boy?
We do not like Joe Biden.
Y'all don't?
We don't like Trump. Or
Are we
Joe
going
Biden.
Trump then?
No, we don't like any of them. We're voting third party.
You're voting third party. So who is the candidate that you're endorsing?
What is her name? Yeah, Claudia de la Cruz.
The PSL
Claudia
candidate?
de la Cruz. Yes, that's her.
That, yeah.
That's like now. I'm not speaking on behalf of everyone here. I'm speaking on behalf of myself. So I would
But
like.
that is the candidates, the PSLs is like their cover photo.
I mean,
right?
some people, not everyone, just because you're part of a political party, is going to agree with the person that's running for that party. I'm pretty sure you could agree that you probably have Republicans that you don't like. And,
Oh, for sure. For
you know,
sure.
so same
Like a
thing with
bunch of
Democrat-
them.
Exactly.
Ton.
So the thing is, I don't think you could necessarily say that the person that is in the party is representative of all, just like how the government is a representative of the citizens of those people.
Right.
So all the Palestinian people should not have to be basically collectively punished for what their resistance force has chosen to do. So that's basically all we're saying here. I know you did an interview with another guy here.
With James.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, with James and things like that. So, but as far as me, that's all I have to really say.
This is more of a silly question because I've never seen the watermelon as part of Free Palestine.
It's the censorship because of Meta. They won't let a lot of people on the internet talk about Palestine. So because of how colors of the Palestinian flag, the black being the seas, the green being the Rhine,
Okay.
the red being that.
I was wondering about that. Yeah.
Yeah, so
Huge symbol of Palestine.
of resistance.
Yeah, of resistance.
Yeah.
I just found it kind of comical. I've never seen that.
Yeah, very serious.
Like, yeah,
So
like
wondering.
you have to find different ways to express yourself. Like,
Like the same colors of the Palestinian flag that you're leaning on right there.
yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like, you guys have your own thing for the Trump supporters, like, let's go Brandon, who's Brandon? We don't, that's a stupid name. So if your name's
You know
Brandon,
the story with that, right?
yeah, no, yes, I've heard the story with that. But so it's like, you guys have your symbols and we have ours.
Right.
Yeah, but I think if you want to keep American neutral though, I think you should definitely, honestly, join us and talk about and help fight the divestment.
We're joining you right now. We're here, aren't we?
I think so, but you're asking, interesting questions, and it seems like you still have so much to learn. So I think that with that, don't go on Google and do that. But I can give you another search engine that doesn't support Google. So
Why
make sure
is
you
Google part of the Zionist regime?
does donate some things. But there is a new app called Ecosia. It's where every single time you do a search, it helps plant a tree. So if you would like to help plant a tree, you could definitely download Ecosia.
Okay.
It's at ecosia.com.
Okay.
Would
But yeah, if you're neutral, I feel like
definitely
you're almost there. Like you're almost there for neutral.
Well, it's interesting too. Like I've talked because I'm definitely on the right, and this is one of the first issues I've seen where there's like some unity on the far right and the far left, where there's like people who really don't like Jews on the far right, and there's people who really don't like Jews on the far left, and it's like the first time I've seen like, you know what I'm talking about?
That's not our thing.
We love and support Jewish people for sure. But because we can separate Zionism from Judaism. For sure.
The people on the far left.
But calling Hamas freedom fighters is not anti-Semitic?
No.
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 Where does that mention Jews?
Well, I mean, they're killing Jews.
Have you seen what the Hamas is done?
You know what I mean?
Is Israel Islamophobic?
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
The Israel that doesn't allow blood tests to be Jewish.
but I do know that, the idea of killing Palestinians.
Yeah.
That's
But you said also you're neutral, but you don't seem like you have a side.
I have an agenda for sure, but I'm not like a, they're, what are the National Socialists or like the far right Nazis, right? Who are like actually anti-Semitic. Like we could all agree on that, right?
There's an actual anti-Semitism that hasn't been addressed.
But then like somebody like, like Louis Farrakhan or like AOC or like have made a lot of like anti-Semitic remarks. And I'm not a person who runs around calling people anti-Semitic. So if you want to be critical of the Jews, go crazy. I don't care. but it's just the first time that I've seen people like Nick Fuentes and AOC like ever agree on anything. It is. It literally is.
You know, when it comes to money, when it comes to power, they're gonna say what gets them the votes. They're gonna do what they need to do to get the power. I have no opinion on AOC outside of what's happening with this conflict, but I think that
she considers herself a socialist.
yeah, I don't know AOC, her demographic, her story, her biography, but I just think that for what we're doing today, that we have a side. You say you don't have a side, but it's
I'm conservative. I'm a conservative Christian. I told you that.
No, but we're talking about just like for what you said, like a ceasefire or not. You seem like you have a side.
We have a comment here. It says free Palestine.
Yeah, our commenter's on your guys' side. So it's just it's more of like I said before, like I do have an agenda, but it's just America first.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You say you're first, and you should also help us divert funds from Israel. Yeah.
Okay. Very interesting.
Yeah,
Very
so-
interesting. I appreciate you talking to us. Oh, okay.
I can't force you to change your opinion, but at the same time, I think this is very important, and I hope you listen to some of the stuff I've talked to you about today.
I appreciate it. No, it's an interesting conversation. I think it'll be good for the viewers. There's a lot to think about there. Do you want to talk, any? No? Oh, you want to talk a little bit? Oh, you have a question? Okay.
Zionist.
Oh. Well, what do you guys have a definition of Zionist? Well, I guess like your opinion.
If I'm going to loosely explain for what my opinion, not to reflect anyone else's opinion of Zionism here, is I think it's a version of nationalism when it comes to how Americans have their radical nationalists, where they do things and it's kind of rooted in religion, how you call yourself a Christian nationalist. I didn't
call myself a Christian.
Oh, sorry. Then I apologize for putting words in your mouth. But for people that are Christian nationalists, I think that Zionism is basically going to be a different version of that in a different religion. So you would call it Jewish nationalism when it comes to them, like the manifest destiny. I would say that Israel right now is doing manifest destiny in Palestine for that, where it's a God, because we thought when we came to America that God gave us this land so we can wipe out all the native.
I noticed that with the protests to begin with, it seemed like the left glommed on with Palestine because they saw Israel as like the colonial, like the colonizers, and the Palestinians as like the Native Americans or something.
Well, by definition, it is a settler building project. Israel coming into a land that is not your own, trying to kick natives out and take over the lands, which is what we did with America.
It's like somewhat semantic though, because that's literally every nation in the world.
Not necessarily. There are different.
Well, I mean, the whole world until like we lived in the 21st century was like land disputes and conquer and divide.
Like in Japan are going to be Japanese. Like, no, I'm not going to say Japanese definitely did their fair share of colonization. That is fair.
We all have. I mean, every nation.
But the thing is, just because it's normalized doesn't make it right. And I think the reason that the government hasn't called for a ceasefire is because if they call out what's happening in Palestine, they'll have to.
Do you want to share an opinion? Just gossip over there. Okay.
They're just having a conversation. They're reading.
Say the word Zionist and colonizer are synonymous.
I actually no. I think it's yes. I would say that they're the same.
And what's your view of capitalism?
I think I can't necessarily give you a definition of what capitalism is off the top of my head, and I truly have no firm opinion on like I am a pro-capitalist or I'm an anti-capitalist. I think things can be better. We can definitely fix our business practices across all boards and how we pay people, how we source our materials, and the way that businesses is done. But what is your question in referring to capitalism have to do what we're talking about today also?
Oh, I've just been watching a lot of live streams of the protests, and they do talk a lot about capitalism, and they seem to use colonizer and Zionist synonymous. And also, this is the PSL that's organizing.
It's several. So there's the PSL, there's the Young Communist Party.
So you're not in CSL?
Yeah, so I wouldn't necessarily say I'm affiliated, but I haven't support a lot of the divisions that they have.
She's an organizer for sure.
But at the same time, I think when they're talking about capitalism, I think that they're talking about the divesting from companies that support it.
So they're not talking about private property ownership or individual liberties or parental rights.
You know, what you choose to do with your money. If you were like, I want to support Israel with my own money, I mean, at the end of the day, yes, you're right, you can do that. But when we're talking about public businesses, like all these, like have you seen the protests around UCLA, WashU, Columbia? Those are public universities that are giving money to Israel. So we are trying to make sure that this is a public university that should have everyone's interest at heart, that you're divesting funds from something that is also another country, which is anti-American, in my opinion, for Americans to be giving money to people that aren't Israel.
There you go.
So when you say the phrase ends capitalism before it ends you, you don't agree with that.
Ends capitalism before I honestly have never heard that saying. But
That's the slogan of the candidates running under the PSL ticket.
For the
That you endorse.
Claudia the Claudia of AOC. Oh, not AOC.
No, they're not AOC.
So Claudia Deluxe, start getting them mixed up. Personally, I guess I haven't heard that part. So I can't really get into what you're saying. I think that as an individual, though, in capitalism before it ends you, I think capitalism has made a lot of people go without. And so I think that in a certain case, it can be true. A lot of people can benefit from capitalism, and we've seen it. We see, you see the millionaires. We see, these people that have a lot of money. So it's working well for those people to benefit, but for a lot of people, it causes harm.
Okay, so you're not necessarily an anti-capitalist strictly, but you disagree with.
I think it would be ignorant for me to call myself off the gate without even being able to describe capitalism. Yeah, and anti-capitalism. I think that would be, a fair assessment. Yeah.
Okay, that's the end of my question.
Yeah, thanks again.
Yeah, thank you.
Do you have like extra flyers or is it just the one? The birth of hip hop in Palestine? That's crazy. Maybe.
Well, actually,
Oh, wow. Put that on your car, Leighton.
Yeah, I'm putting this in.
All right.
like that. But
Yeah.
you guys
Well,
have a good day.
you too. Yeah, appreciate it.
See what else is going on around here. I'm gonna take a look around and bring the camera in. Yeah, that was pretty interesting.
Take you can do a little.
I have this.
Little swag. Some reading material, The Birth of Hip Hop in Palestine, very important literature. This is the young communists, I guess, here. Any of you want to interview? No? Gaza will be free. A little life, Hanya. Wow. Little reading material. Yes. I think there was one more guy over here that wanted to talk to us, so we'll talk to him real quick. You sure? Going once, going twice?
Yeah, imagine talking about your political opinion at a protest.
Yeah, that'd be weird. That'd be really weird. If you were demonstrating and shared your opinion, it'd be very freaky. Sure.
Late tonight.
You give her the information. I'm going to talk to that guy. Hey, are you still wanting to interview at all? Not you, him.
Yeah.
But I think he could probably speak for himself. Do you want to interview? Sure. Yeah. She said no for him, but he wanted to. Hey, Leighton. Leighton, I need your help. We're going to interview him.
Yeah, she's the question.
Yes. So,
Do I look in the camera? Do I look at you?
oh, whatever.
matter?
We can have a conversation. We'll let him figure it out. Don't be weird, Leighton.
We're gonna have to be really close. So not gonna pick up on audio.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, that's so he's going to be really close to our faces. So, how did you're a student at MSU, I'm assuming, and how did you get involved with these organizations? Like, why are you passionate about this?
I'm not even actually part of any of the organizations. I'm just a student here, and I came to show my support because I believe in the cause.
Be honest with me. Did you get the kafir from? Wait, where'd she go? Oh, I don't see her.
No, I purchased this from a company that operates in the West Bank.
Oh, really?
Palestinian company that operates in the West
Oh,
Bank.
okay.
Yeah.
So, do you consider yourself a liberal, I suppose?
I would call myself a leftist. I'm not.
Oh, really? Straight up? Yeah.
I'm not like a big, I don't have a whole lot of I'm not going to sit here and be like, no, I'm exactly this ideology, but I'm of the left.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay. I figured. I mean, everybody here is.
Sure. I mean, a lot of people are.
Yeah. So I assume that you kind of agree with like, you want the ceasefire, you're interested in the divestment of the fiscal accounts of MSU. But I keep asking people this, maybe you can help with this, because, Hamas is associated with Islam. Islam's historically pretty regressive kind of religion. So what, like, it's like weird, like mental judo to try to like figure out like the gays for Palestine and stuff. You know what I mean?
So here's my perspective. I am not in support of Hamas necessarily.
Okay, she was calling them freedom fighters.
Well, that's that's definitionally true, right? They're fighting for their freedom, correct, from Israel. I mean, you'll say that, and part of their strategy, I agree, is that I agree, they've said hateful things about Jewish people, gay community. I don't support any of that. I mean, we have very different views. But what they mean when they call them freedom fighters is that they have a just cause. And I don't think that their cause is trying to kill as many Jewish people as possible. Their cause is to try to free the people of Palestine from the decades of apartheid they've lived under.
They want that. They want Israel. They want the Gaza Strip. Like you can watch like interviews online. There's this really good channel. I forget what it's called, but it's this guy who goes and interviews Israelis and Palestinians. And when he talks to Palestinians on the street, like they will not stop until they get that land back. Is the way they say it. So this war is going to be never ending. So I think like calling.
I don't think it has to be.
Well, if Israel would roll over and give up, it would be done. But they're not going to.
Well, here's my point: is you say you're an American conservative.
Yes.
You are opposed to foreign intervention generally, right?
Yep.
Are there any situations where you think foreign intervention is good, or is it just your?
I would say a 9/11 would probably.
No, not even. That war was bullshit. That war was absolutely.
I don't know. I feel like we kind of needed to fight.
We might
back.
disagree on this, which is fine, but.
Because if we didn't fight back, Jacob, we would have, probably been attacked again.
I don't believe that. I absolutely don't believe that. Fucking Osama bin Laden was a fucking FBI asset. Like everybody knew that was going to happen. Alex Jones said that it was going to happen. People in the government knew it was going to happen. It was a control op, dude. And so anyways, I would have to think, but like, as far as like, okay, what's up? What's coming on the hill? It's like, should we defend Taiwan if fucking China attacks it? Like, I don't know at this rate, man. Like, we have so many problems at home. But like, I feel like China, like we need to cut ties with China. I'm for fixing problems here. I can't think of like a hypothetical war right now where I'm like, yeah, we have to get involved in this.
Then here's my thing. Here's my point. And that means you don't support giving aid to Israel, I imagine.
No.
So what do you think of the fact that Israel wouldn't be able to be doing anything that they're doing right now without our support?
Yeah, I kind of see it the same way as Ukraine, where, it's interesting. People like Ben Shapiro, there's like this viral clip going around of him, like, Israel can defend herself. And then he's like,
it's not true.
No, that's not true. And dude, my thing is like, how did the most advanced like border wall in the world, their Iron Dome not defend dudes with parachutes and little parts coming in? Like, it seems like they allowed it to happen.
The Iron Dome is made by the U.S. We gave it to them.
Right.
In fact, Netanyahu lobbied to make sure that the U.S. didn't give the Iron Dome or similar defense systems to Ukraine, which I disagree with. Personally, I think we should be given an Iron Dome to Palestine, but
that's insane. What the fuck?
No, but I mean, only because of what's currently
right.
So here's the point I was actually trying to all of the things that Israel does and the carte blanche that they've received to execute an ethnic cleansing in Gaza is because of U.S. weaponry, it's because of U.S. diplomatic cover, and it's because of the U.S. media perpetuating a lie to us. So fundamentally, I think that the reason that this war started is not because of the actions on October 7th. Obviously, that started this current, right?
Yeah.
But you can't, the clock doesn't start on October 7th. You can't start there, right? The history of the creation of the state of Israel and the decades of oppression of Palestinians and the system of apartheid, very similar to like that in South Africa that was dismantled in the 90s. The parallels are, impossible to me.
Yeah.
So that's why I stand on this. Yeah.
Interesting. That's actually good points. Fair. Interesting. Yeah.
Well, this is the thing. I really think that a lot of conservatives can actually have Um, I think I've met a lot of people who are traditionally conservative, such as
Is that Sherwin-Williams?
The school board. Yeah. Supporting the Palestine protest. Imagine that. Wow. Who would have guessed?
But yeah, it's like I said, there's I think there's a lot of conservatives like yourself who are against foreign intervention that should have a lot of reasons to be supporting the Palestinian cause.
Everything that I don't know. It's just, it doesn't pass the smell test for me.
And then let me give you one more thing about the creation of Hamas and why they're in power in Gaza. Are you familiar with the origin of Hamas at all?
Not intimately,
Okay,
no.
sure, I'll give you just a brief. So in 2005, Israel decided to pull all of the sediments out of the Gaza Strip, and this was part of a series of negotiations. They let elections happen soon thereafter, and in order to essentially ensure that the two different parts of Palestine, which is the West Bank and Gaza, are not able to effectively collaborate with each other and actually sue for peace with Israel and try to create a lasting peace, either through a two-state or some kind of solution. Benjamin Netanyahu specifically unfroze assets and allowed Qatar and other governments to transfer funds to Hamas so that they can do campaigning and gain control in Israel, despite the fact that at the time the American administration was very much in support of Fatah, a different group that was running, that is not an Islamist fundamentalist group like Hamas. So the reason that Hamas is in power in the first place is because of the right-wing Israeli government. They designed it that way because they knew that if they put an Islamic fundamentalist group in power in Gaza, it would create a higher likelihood of a violent retaliation like we saw on October 7th, and it would make it harder for the Palestinian people to support their cause on an international scale because it makes it hard for them to get representation in the model UN, or I'm sorry, model UN, in the actual UN. I'm in model UN. It's just like, in the actual United Nations, because they have two different groups running the two different parts of their state. And so
I'll have to look into that. I never heard that.
It's extremely.
Because that makes it more like, that's like, it's like 4D chess, you know? It kind of is what you're saying is true. So.
Well, I'm glad we had the conversation.
Yeah, I appreciate it. My name's Jacob.
My name's Lane. I'm his producer.
I'm Sean.
Dude, thanks. I appreciate
Hey, let's go talk to Kylo.
Okay.
Talk to the other people outside of us.
The
brothers, are they still here?
We interviewed them for probably like 30 minutes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we did talk to them. It was interesting because I told them some of the same stuff where, you know, I'm like, I don't really support Israel, but I don't support Palestine. So it's interesting having these conversations. We've actually got a lot of good content today. I feel like.
Hey, I think
Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, Late Night Freedom Stream. So look us up. Shoot us a message.
Your people watch.
If you want to come on the show and talk about stuff sometime, you can. Like, I've invited him as well because he's like a philosophy major. We had a pretty interesting conversation. But
yeah, let's go talk to Kyler real quick.
Okay.
Hey, Kyler, how'd the election go?
Violent, right?
Do you support the Palestine protester sit-in?
I support my students, yeah, and their ability to peacefully assemble and protest. Yeah.
Do you work at the college?
Professor Missouri.
Oh, I had no idea.
You didn't know that?
No.
We were covering the school board election, dummy.
I just knew that, we were not.
That's why he's here.
Thank you.
No problem. That's like your students more than the cause. You support your students doing like political action, but you don't necessarily support the cause. You support the cause.
I think it's fall time for a ceasefire. I oppose the genocide that's happening in Gaza. So yeah, I support the cause. I support the demands they're making, transparency to understand what investments the university is putting in, and call to divest if there's any ties to Israel. So I support that. Yeah.
Oh, well.
I think it's reasonable to support it, right? You don't want our taxpayer dollars going to fund, a genocide, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I was just curious about your stance on that. Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Yeah. Thank you.
Cool. That
was terrible. Okay, here. Let's do an outro. So,
let's get food. We should eat over there with them.
Eat over there with.
Yeah, they have a Freddy's in here.
Somewhere that doesn't suck. So, there's your coverage. There's a dude shredding. Let's go. Yeah, interesting. It's weird to see Kyler. Actually, it's not weird to see Kyler at all. Obviously, he supports that. I feel like that's why he was so unpopular in the election.
Yeah.
It's obvious that he's a leftist activist. And I mean,
Yeah, I didn't know he worked for this college. I just didn't really care.
Well, you weren't paying attention for fucking 2 months while we were covering that.
Well, I just knew I wasn't gonna, vote for him or root for him.
Right. Here, let's smash this.
Let's smash that.
Yeah.
Let's get it.
Stop. All right, but hey, thanks for watching the stream, and we'll see you Saturday or Sunday.
Oh, we got someone. Oh, really? Do you want them on camera or?
Yeah. For sure. Yeah, we try not to get the little kids on camera usually. Hey.
So, we support Israel.
Yeah, I like your shirt. That's cool. Get his shirt.
Israel.
Nice. Thanks, guys. That's adorable.
My grandma know you.
We might have talked earlier.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely drink lots of water. Be good. Listen to your grandparents.
Eat your vegetables. It's crazy because when we walked in there, we asked like almost all of them whether or not they wanted to interview. A lot of them said, no, I don't want to interview. They're just sitting down reading books and stuff.
We did Kyler Wilkins Sherman's, the guy who was running for school boards, in there talking to him right now. So we asked him, do you support this cause? And at first he was like, I support my students. And I'm like, so you don't support the actual cause? And he's like, well, I do support the cause too, actually. And it's like, okay, well, Kyler Wilkins Sherman's, he was one of the candidates running for school board. He lost, but he works for MSU, and he's just, he's a leftist activist like the rest of them. But
yeah, we had what is it? It felt like they were kind of ganging up on us, and
they talked to us.
They had that one guy with the muscle shirt that was like staring at us with his arms crossed.
We were talking to these younger black girls, and all the dudes came up and were like standing around. I'm like, do you guys want to talk? They're like, no. Well, yeah, I mean, we talked to them for a while. It was interesting. It was interesting. They called Hamas freedom fighters. What else? And like I said to you guys earlier, I don't really have a dog in this fight. I mean, you heard the way I was talking to you. It's the same way I'm talking to them, but it's just like, it's fascinating to get these different perspectives. And, I definitely, I feel like I would, if I was going to go have coffee with somebody and actually enjoy it, I would enjoy coffee with you. Whereas if I went and had coffee with one of them, it'd be very unpleasant and be a lot of leftist claptrap that's incoherent. Because it's weird because they'll make solid points, but then their worldview contradicts yeah.
Yeah, it's weird. We saw one with a trans yarmulke.
Yeah, they had the blue and so we're like, do you support Palestine? They're like, yeah. And they're like, I don't want to be
Executed.
I know. And I'm like, why do you have a trans yarmulke on? They're like, well, I'm Jewish. And I'm like, and you support Palestine? And they're like, yeah, but I don't want to interview. And that's when the black girls came up and started talking to us. But
yeah,
you can't come out in public with a trans yarmulke on and not be open to answering some questions. That's insane.
I saw that one.
Get that video. They're getting free Palestine off.
Yeah,
nice.
Yeah,
Thank you.
But then
Appreciate you guys.
Then what was it? They
What?
Yeah.
Bye.
Well, when you got a
bye to free Palestine.
Whenever you got a week.
Oh yeah.
Whenever you have a weak resistance front, this is what happens.
You ought to make the communists do that. They're hating their lives because they have to clean up after immature children.
Yeah. But it's like, they that one Muslim girl was making hand gestures to the other guy, being like, no, don't talk.
Yeah. I like how the one was like, no, he doesn't want to talk. He doesn't want to interview. I'm like, I think he can tell me if he wants to interview. And then lo and behold, he wants to interview.
Her eyes too. That was fucking rude.
Right. And that one that never has anything to say wanted to chime in when they're in a group. And then they were like, whoa, don't be mean to her. I'm like, she's 40 years old and the organizer. If somebody's going to answer some questions, shouldn't it be that chick?
Yeah. She was pretty rude. I think we were pretty nice, especially that trans disabled person.
Yeah, I mean, we definitely could have been assholes. Yeah, they were in a wheelchair, dude.
Oh.
Yeah. Okay. Well, there you have it, folks.
There's their coverage.
We do have a comment on here. Josh Poole said, be interesting to ask, how do these people feel about the call for the destruction of the state of Israel and the Hamas charter? I mean, they see Hamas as freedom fighters, so that pretty much tells us all we need to know. All right.
All right, well, let's go see if my car got taken.
Say bye, Leighton.
Bye.